The views and opinions of the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
The aftermath of every social revolution brings about change. Cultural norms and landmarks shift as our minds and hearts expand beyond the familiar. To everything, there is a season and a time to every purpose in the land of the living. This is our time to renew, revive, and restore the hope lost to the busyness of life. This is our time to dig again, past on a solid footing that holds. Welcome to The Foundation.
The Foundation.
The Foundation with Hart Grant is brought to you by Alive, Bond for Bones, Burger King, Commonwealth Bank, ESC Distributors Limited, Grand Bahama News, the IAAF Road Relays Bahamas, the National Insurance Board, and Wendy's.
Foundation. The Foundation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Another beautiful week. It is April. It is Monday, April 22nd, 2024, live and in full effect in the land of the living. I hope that you guys are doing well. I hope that you had a beautiful weekend. I think I heard one or two mishaps over the weekend. Can we sum it up to that, or kind of break it down to that? We heard one or two mishaps over the weekend. I hope that you guys are very good in terms of moving in the direction that you were called to move in, that you're supposed to move in, with this sort of clarity and understanding that it's bigger than me, right? It's bigger than me. I think that's one of the things that we have to do. We have to kind of assess and come to a position within ourselves that this is bigger than me. This is about community. If all of us run off and try to be able to take care of ourselves, we end up we wreak the havoc that is our society at this particular point. I want to be as decent as possible. As I do these things, before we dive into anything, I got to shout out my good, decent people over at Da Vinci's Innovators Printing. Printing Innovators, they got everything available for you. Da Vinci Printing Innovators, they are on Village Road, just the intersection between Village Road and Burnett Road, just as you get over Wolf Road right there on the left-hand side in that plaza, as you headed east, in that plaza right there, the Village Road Shopping Plaza. Right on the side of the bank, you could walk inside and prepare yourself to be amazed. I just want to say that to you. I don't know whether or not I put enough emphasis on sort of the modern approach to customer service that exists on the inside. I don't know if I put the emphasis on the fact that these are people that remain committed to being able to serve from an external standpoint, the community standpoint, and they've made these sort of commitments that continues to wow us. I don't know whether or not I've emphasized the fact that if you're looking for someone to do your printing, right? Your booklets, your wedding booklets, your graduation booklet, the little toddlers. If you're looking for the funeral booklets to be done, if you're looking for your pastor's seed envelope for his birthday or her birthday, so forth and so on, and you want to be able to get these things done, if you want to be able to create formality in your space and present yourself like the professional that your mouth says, talk to me, put your money where your mouth is and ensure that you go down there. The Da Vinci Printers and Innovators, they got everything available for you. Make sure you do that, right? It's going to be Da Vinci Printing 242. Check them out, DaVinciPrinting242.com. They can take good care of you. I got to shout out my good, decent people over at AFS Insurance Agents and Brokers. They get everything laid out for you as it relates to insurance, right? If you're in the market for some insurance for your SDs, you just get some plates, your taxi, your jitney, your livery, all these particular things. And you may not have all the corn, the money, the bread, the scratch, the cheese up front. Make sure you can go in there. They do in-house financing. You want to check them out and find out more about that. Ask for my good friend Ethric Bow or Mr. Richardson or any one of those persons. They'd be more than happy to assist you in getting to your objective. They're open between Monday and Saturday. So 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday, you can be able to get there. Check them out. Give them a call at 341-1AFS. All the information's in there, guys. Make sure you pick up your Guardian newspaper. The Guardian newspaper today got all the information in there. If you, for what's been happening over the past few days, you can see exactly what's what. Carifta committee chair calls audit garbage. I want to say this. And just as a little note, for those persons who seek higher office, who've been identified to climb to higher office in our society, know that there is a decorum associated with the words that you say. Come on, talk to me. Just talk to me. I don't know whether or not we have to have a little small class about this, but calling the thing garbage is strong. Let's just be decent as possible, right? So, Carifta Committee calls the audit garbage. You're going to be able to read that. Find out more in the paper and see exactly what's what. Man denies causing harm to X, and also a final farewell to Don Sanders. His family's in there. Don, with all their thing, his twin brother's in there. I know it's kind of ominous and kind of eerie to be able to see Don when Don's not here, and the person of his twin brother, to be able to hear him even when he does the interviews. You could be able to hear Don Sanders, and I know that's kind of for many of us, we still can be able to hear him and see him. So we pray for the family and pray that you guys you strengthen yourself and continue to move forward with strength and determination, and find your tenacity and wherewithal to continue to be able to push the cause of national growth and development that Don that he stood for, from a political standpoint, from a social standpoint, and otherwise. That emerges from the family, even in the midst of your bereavement. We continue. We pray your strength in the Lord. Watch me. That's me being decent. And finally, on the front page, you can be able to see that the government of the Grand Bahama Port Authority lawyers in talk. The Prime Minister says the government remains strong in its position on what port owes. This is strong. Over the past few weeks, the government has taken on this very strong position to indicate that within 30 days, I think we got about 14, 15 days left. Within 30 days, the Grand Bahama Port Authority has to be able to answer and provide information and pay up of the over $300 million that they owe the that they owe the central government of the Bahamas. And the conversation ensued. The Port Authority, stiff-necked and steadfast in their position, cemented and indicated that, they don't know anything about this, to the point where they're not paying this, and they want to be able to have conversations, right? I think it's bubbled to the point where it came out to the public, and everyone wants to show you their autonomy and their strength, and so the conversations are very sharp. But I believe that this can be negotiated behind closed doors to find productivity. Now, most recently, we would have seen someone that we've known for a very long time, that we would have heard and continue to be able to hear from social perspective, always being able to agitate with strength and determination for the people of the Bahamas. More specifically, we heard him speak on the people of Grand Bahama and what needs to happen from that particular standpoint. He's a former member of parliament, former parliamentarian, and also former senator in the both the upper and the lower house. He's tenacious, he's determined, he is wide-eyed, always being optimistic in his speech, and always being able to have his finger on the pulse of what's happening in the community. We heard from him the last time we saw him or heard him in a formal capacity in the House of Assembly. He said to many of y'all ain't gonna be here, and I will be here. Well, he's not there, but his spirit still lingers. And that kind of a bar that he set to always be able to speak with this tenacity and determination continues to be able to reign supreme and burst through the political malarkey or the stagnation that exists in this particular time. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to none other than Frederick A. McAlpine. McAlpine, how you doing, my brother?
I'm fine, thank you, and it's a pleasure to be here with you, Howard Grant. It's a pleasure. I am so delighted to be with you, and let me encourage you to keep up the good work that you're doing, and see you as one of our prospective persons in the future who will be able to continue to contribute to the social, economic, and development about.
Appreciate you, brother.
You represent a whole lot. You speak in terms of being, you're not a full reporter, but in a sense, you're guarding the Florida State, and you're a very powerful voice, and we pray we don't lose it.
Thank you,
we lost voices.
Thank you,
who were in this danger.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that so much. Makapan, I ask you to do one thing because you sound a little bit echoed. I don't know if your microphone is far from you, but if you could get closer to that so we don't have the echo in the background, just for the purposes of this conversation. I believe that we're going to dive into some very, very important conversations, even in the midst of us setting up this conversation last week. Today, First thing this morning, unbeknownst to any of us, the government and the Port Authority lawyers are in conversations. We're seeing this at the front page of the Nassau Guardian this morning, and the government remains strong in its position on what the port owes. Now, this is a very strong position that they've taken, both the government and the Port Authority. And, last week we would have heard you take on a very strong position to talk about the fact that it seems rather desperate. After 2018, between 2018 and 2024 or 2023, upon your press release, the government has received hundreds and millions of dollars from the Port Authority, and now they're asking for $357 million, as though it presents itself rather desperate. Talk to me about that, and then tell me about what's happening on the ground in Grand Bahama.
Okay, first of all, can you hear me better now?
You're still a little muffled, but I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm just trying to see. Let me see if I can how's that? Is that better?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So basically, when it comes to Grand Bahama, we recognize that the government of the Bahamas has decided that the Grand Bahama Port Authority owes them approximately $357 million. Grandians are concerned, where has this figure come from? Where is the itemized building for this amount that is claimed to be owed? At the same time, people are concerned to the fact that if we do not wish the government of the Bahamas, this government or any other government at this present time, be taking over the responsibilities that we now feel that's being emanated to us from the Grand Bahama Port Authority here in Grand Bahama. There are some things and some ways of life that we've become accustomed to that we do not wish to have the government hand in at this particular time. Also, what we're also saying is we do not wish to have, we're not saying that the Grand Bahama Port Authority is perfect, because we know they're not. And there have been complaints from the citizenry here in Grand Bahama. What we feel is we're not going to go from bad to what we would call worse. We could say the Port Authority is bad, but we feel that the government would be worse as it relates to some matters. And we also are concerned about who the government brings to the table. We don't want any government handpicking their code saying, okay, we want y'all taking over the port, because it would be the same thing as the government taking over the port. Just some folks in the forefront or being dictated to by the government. And so those are the things that we're trying to avoid. As for Grand Bahama is trying to survive like most people in the Commonwealth survive. We are geographically located in a good place geographically in terms of topography in this region of the Caribbean. But equally so, whereas we are in a good position, we also happen to be what I call in a hurricane belt. And hurricane belt has caused us to have a number of hurricanes, which has caused us to be economically devastated and basically put in an economic position where most of us are in what we call economic survival mode. And so that's where we are right now. That's where we are. We also know one or two things that we're trying to watch when it comes to the government as it relates to the Port Authority. You notice that they're only asking for, saying that they're owed from 2018 to 2023. But I also want to remind the public that the first time we heard anything about a sale, I didn't even know that there was a sale. We always heard rumors of sale. But the first time we heard anything about the government themselves were the first persons to say that they were interested in the port and that they would be willing to purchase the port. Well, I believe they put that offer on the table, and that offer, I guess, was declined because I'm gathering that they had the value, the Port Authority as it relates to what they were willing to purchase. And thereafter, the next thing we knew is after, I guess, their bid was rejected by the shareholders, the next thing we knew was there was a bill for $357 million. Now, I don't know what y'all call that, but to me, that's a shakedown. That seems to be a shakedown. Because I tell you, no, you can't buy my things for the value which you are saying you want to give me. And I turn around and I tell you, no.
Hold
you
on.
come back up and tell me, say, I owe you $357 million. Something wrong with that picture.
Mark, shakedown is strong language. Shakedown is mafia language.
It is, but then that's what it sounds like. This is a mafia type of performance. This is what mafias do. I didn't know the government was in the loan shark business. How you selling your laptop? Your laptop is worth $300. I offer you $20. You tell me no. You say, oh, okay, Howard. I offer you $20. You ain't want $20. Anyhow, you say your laptop is worth $300. By the way, you owe me $250. I want that now. So if you don't give it to me, what am I implying? That I can now take the laptop?
That's heavy what you're saying, Mark. I want to do this because I'm listening to you. I listened to your interview, and I've always listened to you over the years. You have been sort of the focal point of what attracts significant numbers. I think both the PLP and the FNM knows that from your poems and your approach and how you be able to break these particular things down and always be able to give alert to those in the upper echelon of society and still draw in the voices and contribution to those who are, working class citizens, so forth and so on. So I want to take you all the way back to 2004. Now, in 2004, we had Hurricane Jane and Francis, and Grand Bahama was in dire straits. 4 years after 2004 was the economic bubble, the bubble burst, right? The housing crisis that happened in America that really dried up. So really been limping for 20 years. For 20 years.
Yes.
We have seen FNM, PLP, FNM, and PLP from a governmental standpoint. But we have not seen reform the way that we intended, the way the promises were made for Grand Bahama for a very long time. Now, I want to talk to you about that. I want to talk to you about the fact that when you start to look at the Grand Bahama Port Authority, after the death of Edward St. George and Jack Haywood, it left a void. Not necessarily of occupants to be able to do a job, but the spirit in which they actually ran the organization and became a part of the community, it was absent just for a small time. It is now, can I say this, being re-emerged, where I'm seeing Rupert Haywood come to the forefront. I'm seeing Sarah taking on a certain position, so forth and so on. So this could be rejuvenation of sorts. Why do you think, and you asked this question, why do you think after everything seems to be shifting and being put in strategic position to find itself growing into the future, why now? Why has this New Day administration taken on the course of being able to, like you say, down, quote unquote, your words, shake down the Port Authority for what is at the front of $357 million? Talk to me about it.
Let me say this again, and I confess to this. I said that under St. George and the late St. George, Jack Haywood and Sir Albert, things were much different. I think they had a greater affinity and a greater vision, and they felt, like we normally say in vernacular, can you feel me? We felt that, and they felt us. We didn't feel that in the initial stage after the death. Remember now the port had that fight going on amongst themselves, the shareholders. And we started to complain.
Yes.
We complained about the port not doing what it ought to do with regards to investment and investors. We felt that they could have done more. We felt that the shareholders were not dishing out to the island in the perspective of doing what it had to do and should have been doing. We complained. And I can tell you, within the last 2 to 3 years, in the last 2 to 3 years, that we've seen in many years past, since the passing
I can agree with
of the giants of the port, the late St. George Hayward Miller. So we see them making their moves now. All of a sudden, the government of the Bahamas now gets in and says, we're not satisfied. Why now is the question that everybody's asking. I believe I have my view. Now, because one, we're dealing with some people in this country who are just simply greedy. It's not so much that, in other words, I get the impression that it's almost like that Bible story about Nineveh's vineyard. They want these people there, or they want certain people to now control these people there. Because certain people, and I hate to bring it to the forefront, particularly within the Progressive Liberal Party, has always wanted to get their hands in the Grand Bahama area, in certain areas. And I think now that they got a way in, believing that perhaps they feel they can get a way in through this now leadership, they can go after with regards to the Grand Bahama Port Authority and shareholders. And so I think that they have a plan. And it could be a land grab. It could be that too. They want to get their hands on the land. It could be that they want to get into other areas of the economy. And let me say this, for those of you listening to me throughout the Commonwealth, regardless who's in power, there seems to be some people in this country who believe that this country belongs to them and the rest of us are just peasants and we're just here to serve them. The same people continue to get empowered and economically empowered and enriched while the rest of us can't even get an opportunity. Same people eat it. Same people getting the contract. Same people making the millions.
Wow.
So I'm just saying, this might be part of the reason why now, because they want to get their hands in. They have a plan.
All right,
Their plan don't include the ordinary man of Freeport, Grand Bahama.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're here talking with none other than Frederick A. Marcopan. You know him, you know the voice, you are reminded of this. He said he hasn't left Front Life to be able to remain committed to the people of Grand Bahama and even serving in his capacity in the church. So when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit more about this. Mac, I just sent you a text. Check that out for me, please. Give me a few seconds, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take this quick commercial break and be right back after this.
The foundation. The foundation. The foundation. The foundation.
Do you have uncontrollable debt? Are you ready to make that move to Fidelity for a stress-free future? These loans have a built-in savings plan that pays you unbeatable interest. Ask about our debt consolidation loans today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
The Grand Bahama News is available every Tuesday in the Nassau Guardian. You can buy your local paper at Freeport Convenience Stores, Western Bakery, De Gregory's Fine Foods, and Bellevue Gifts. Now is the Bahama Market with affordable packages, including print and digital. Call GB News Sales Representative Kavandre at 822-6717 or message him on WhatsApp for ad rates. Classified ads are now available every Tuesday as well. Keep up with everything Grand Bahamian every Tuesday in the Nassau Guardian.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation. The foundation. Foundation. The foundation.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant in your company, the foundation. It's a beautiful day. Beautiful day out here in the city of Nassau. I don't know where you are throughout the Commonwealth of the country. I hope that you're doing well throughout the diaspora. Wherever you are as a Bahamian listening in, I want to thank you so very kindly. As a citizen listening in, I want to thank you so very kindly for us for participating in what we do here on the foundation. I'm here with none other than Frederick A. McAlpine, having good conversations about what's happening from the Grand Bahama Port Authority standpoint and the people of Grand Bahama, and how we view, or how it is viewed, this kind of a feud, right? Quote unquote. The feud that exists between the Grand Bahama Port Authority and the government of the Bahamas. I'm here with McAlpine. McAlpine, say good afternoon to the people out there. Go ahead, Mac. Producer, I can't. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Excellent. You're good. Yeah, excellent. This feud that has been existing, that kind of been brewing for a long time. Can we be very clear, and let's be honest with this kind of a conversation? It was, for at least a time and a half, the people of Grand Bahama, between 2000 and, I don't know, I want to tell you between 2008 to, like you said, just before about 5 years ago, there was a time that Grand Bahamian people thought it was all done. Thought to themselves, why doesn't the Grand Bahama Port Authority just sell? Why don't they just sell their assets, sell their position if they're not contributing to sort of the uplifting of society? Then gradually you saw persons, the derelict vehicles and the dilapidation that existed in the center of Grand Bahama, the old buildings, you saw some paint being fresh put on some things, you saw some buildings being pushed down, so forth and so on. Like you said, over the past 3 years, we've seen significant changes as it relates to that. Now, let's be decent, Mac. Ginger Moxie, in her particular capacity as Member of Parliament for Pine Ridge, she has done a tremendous amount of things in terms of some pictures that she's taken, some derelict vehicles that she's done, some movement that happened in the city. Do you believe that this is sort of the contribution that the government is indicating, that we've done these particular things, now we're looking for compensation as it relates to a contractual agreement? Because we haven't gotten any information as to what this 357 is all about, this millions, and what the stipulations are. We know that you got 30 days to pay it, but we don't necessarily know what it is. Have you found out any other information beyond that point?
No. We've not gotten an itemized bill, and apparently the Port Authority is also saying that they don't owe this money and they don't know exactly what it's for. We've heard that Pricewaterhouse, they've heard that Pricewaterhouse, and I say we, when I say we've heard, we're people here in Grand Bahama, Freeport. We're trying to pay attention, but basically we've just simply heard that Grand Bahama Port Authority has indicated that they don't owe. They don't owe, and they don't owe this bill, and they don't owe this number. So that's another thing that we're concerned about.
Mm-hmm. It's strange that we have, I think everything is up in the air. I like to draw a comparison to some things. When we left off the commercial, before we went on the commercial break, I just wanted to know the why. Why now? I think as I listened to your interview, as I listened to your press conference, one of the officers, the press officers, they would have asked you a question. Why do you believe at this time the government of the Bahamas has taken on this kind of a position? Now, you're on the ground in Grand Bahama. Now, you know I'm a Grand Bahamian, right? I only could hear from 8 Mile Rock. I haven't been to 8 Mile Rock since last year, right? So I know that it's sort of a fluid environment. The by-election just happened. There is a lot of excitement. The PLP, which is the government of the Bahamas, has made significant commitments to the people of West Grand Bahama to say that they're going to do some changes, so forth and so on. Has anything changed over the last year in Grand Bahama proper, and then more specifically in Freeport?
Nothing has changed. Can you hear me?
I can hear you good. I can hear you very good.
Okay. Nothing has changed in Grand Bahama. I have not seen any significant change in Grand Bahama. I'm just trying to see if I can get my earphones plugged in. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay. Nothing has changed in Grand Bahama in terms of significant change. I've not seen anything majorly happen that haven't been happening already in terms of with the Carnival cruise. The hotel is still not sold. The airport is still in a dilapidated condition. And that's in terms of the Freeport proper. We hear that a very nice community clinic is being, elaborate community clinic is being built, not necessarily a hospital. But basically, we're still where you left us. Now, I often say if you want to see how Grand Bahama would be ran by a government, just look at East and West Grand Bahama. And you being from the West very much well know the potholes in 8 Mile Rock are enormous. You can almost plant trees in some of those holes in 8 Mile Rock. The conditions are poor. The schools in Holmes Rock has still not been open, and I don't lay that at the feet of the Progressive Liberal Party. I put that at the feet of both governments. The condition in the West and the Eastern District is disgraceful, to say the least. To say the least. And if the government of the Bahamas feels that strong about what they could do in the Freeport area, why haven't you convinced us with the East and the West?
Well, I can say this. If you remember back in the 90s when we had significant potholes in Grand Bahama, the Free National Movement came in with the Member of Parliament, Lindy Russell, paved the whole road in 8 Mile Rock, put the sidewalks there, and we saw sort of reform in West Grand Bahama specifically, even down in the West End that has remained committed in one way or another to the Progressive Liberal Party. There has been significant change. We've also seen the government take on this kind of course of being able to do the Bimini Bay in the late Obadiah Wilshkin, being able to identify those things. So the government has its way of being able to initiate concepts, ideas, projects for reformation in the community. However, there has always, historically, there has been a stark difference, right? This great contrast, this gulf that existed between the introduction of a project and the maintenance of a project. The governments are not good with maintaining a project. This kind of a hearsay and this chatter about the possibility of being able to purchase the Grand Bahama Port Authority. Do you think it's a good idea for the government of the Bahamas?
Absolutely not. And you brought up a very good point. They can maintain. They know they can't maintain. That's the problem. They've been billing and billing and billing. 1 minute now. They've been billing here, there, and everywhere. But the one thing I've noticed is that they've not been able to maintain. And that's one of the things we've noticed. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Mark.
Okay, good. Yeah. Good. I can hear you better now too. Excellent. Yeah, that we have poor maintenance when it comes to the government. I don't care where they're building it, whether it's in Dumfries, Cat Island, whether it's in Salina Point, Auckland, or it's in Pelican Point, Grand Bahama, or in West End. The government has a bad track record when it comes to maintaining. And yet they have every day what you call the Ministry of Work. I think these people should be working. For the love of Jesus, tell me, why every summer we have to have these contracts for schools when all this the Ministry of Work should be maintaining these buildings all year round? But again, they don't do it. And so you now want to tell me that we must give the responsibility of the government, the responsibility of the Port Authority, or to take the responsibility from the Port Authority to pick up our garbage, to deal with our water, to deal with our verges, to deal with our roads. And people say, well, that's not right now. Just give them a chance. Give them a chance. And they'll surprise you. They can't surprise you no more than they surprise you with Centerville, or being a Johnstown, or Engliston. How they can surprise me anymore? They haven't done for those people what they should do. But they want to convince me that, and then see, this becomes a crony thing. So the minute the government gets to pick up the garbage, you're dealing with contracts. Then when you're dealing with their supporters. Then when the truck breaks down, then they're coming on the back of the truck to talk about they picking up the garbage. The garbage is supposed to be picked up one day, don't reach a couple of days. No, that's okay. That's okay. Like I said, the Port Authority they're not saying they've done some bad, but I'm not giving them bad for worse.
I gotta
if
laugh.
I give them bad, I want better.
I gotta laugh because we've seen this before. You're not saying this. This is not hypothetical. We've actually seen people coming to collect garbage in flatbed trucks. We've actually seen people bring in their 4x4 trucks to be able to collect garbage for a contract that they have, but they don't necessarily have the resources to take care of it. Is this what we're going to see in the city of Grand Bahama?
We hope not. This is what we're complaining about now. Now, if there's a legitimate concern that this government owes the Port Authority and they can legitimately state and show that, fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. I can accept that. But at the end of the day, justify it. But no way. I do not want the government can you imagine Grand Bahama and Bahamas? After Hurricane Dorian, I live in the eastern part of the island. This is the Lucaya area, the Shipman Road area. Mm-hmm. We had a water issue. If the government was responsible for that, I am telling you, we would still have that water issue. Today, the water issue was resolved, I would say almost 2 years ago. And so it is important, it is very important for folks to understand that we do not wish to have the government running the management affairs of Freeport. We do not wish to look at the islands. Just look at the islands. We don't have to go far. Just look at Nassau. Mm-hmm. We do not wish the government, this government, or any government. Just look at East and West. The holes are so big. The road going to East, to McLean's town, is still in the deplorable condition. This ain't just happened for years under successive governments. The roads to get, the minute you turn 8 Mile Rock Corner to go to West End, terrible. And when you reach Freeport, although we ain't happy with the port, it's still better than East and West. And you want us to give that up?
Wow. I want to ask you this now, because we have asked about the government's immediate position and why they've taken the time out now to agitate, advocate, and to be able to speak out and sort of draw the line in the sand between their position and the Grand Bahama Port Authority. Now we know
because I believe
go ahead.
There's some greedy folks. I believe that this line is drawn in the sand because, again, as I said earlier, we do not wish the government to bring the people who they want. Mind you can sell the Grand Bahama Port Authority tomorrow, and give us some better people. If y'all can do that, fine. I don't even think that the shareholders would be against that. But for the government to bring who they want, cronies, who can tell us who can get licensed at Freeport and who can't get licensed, I don't care if it's this government or any other government. That means we will be proliferating victimization and ostracization right here in the Freeport area. Mm-hmm. So we do not want that. So I believe, again, we're dealing with some greedy folks who've always, and I hate to say it, who've always been a part of the PLP that wanted to get their hands in Grand Bahama for a while. Mm-hmm. And they see this time as an opportunity to just do that. Mm-hmm. For a while, there's some people. And like I said, these names are very familiar. I ain't calling no names.
Amen.
But some of these names are very familiar.
Yeah.
And we're tired of it. Like I said earlier, this country seems to don't care who in power. There's some families and some people who believe that they're supposed to live and the rest of us are just here to be their peasants. Or that the Bahamas belong only to them. Mm. That day and that time is over. Mm. And I'm going to go a little further, This is one of the problems I've had with successive government. And some of these people I call greedy, who are not needy. Let me tell you this, Howard and Bahamas. Under Lyndon Finland, a lot of these people who are now greedy, they got what they got because of the Finland era. He made them millionaires. He opened the door for them to become millionaires. After Finland was off the scene, they locked the door on the rest of us. Mm-hmm. They shut us out. Everybody else, nobody else, they control who can become millionaires or who can have in this country. And that is sad. Finland, what Finland did for them, they refused to do for us.
This is a strong conversation that you're having right now, Marco Pine, because I think a lot of us know this to be true. A lot of us know this to be factual, but no one will articulate that into the public realm. A lot of persons kind of skirt around the edge and look for ways of survival, as opposed to being able to look that proverbial devil in the face and being able to speak truth to power. Talk to me.
It's killing the country. It's killing the country. You know, I hear some of these politicians talking about, oh, I'm one of y'all. One of who? From the day Finland opened the door for you, shut it on the rest of us. You say you one of us, but you took your behind out to License Key and Paradise Island and never looked back. Never looked back. And it's okay for your children, but not okay for our children. You know, you listen to them. I said this when I was in the House of Assembly. Farming is a good, I believe you can make millions on farming. Mm-hmm. But the problem with that is, okay, I need the politicians to practice what you preach. You tell me farming is good, but you want your child to be a lawyer and a doctor, but you want mine to be in the sun. Why don't you send yours in the sun and show me how yours can make millions, and then perhaps the rest of us would be convinced.
Well, you know, one of the issues that we have in this country, I think a lot of persons, they like to have conversations about equality, but it is clear that some people are a little more equal than others. And so that's where the imbalance exists.
And see, and let me go, you're absolutely right, Howard, but let me just go a little further. For Lyndon, there was a racial issue during that time. We done passed that, you know. We done passed that racial issue. And only the PLP brings up that every time you don't agree with the PLP and some white people involved, they call race. All of a sudden, I'm a slave on the plantation. The hell with that. You talk about oligarchy, the minority still ruling the majority. The minority blacks who have been successful got their teeth on the rest of our neck. So they're no better than what the UBC used to do. It's only that the color changed. And I get passionate when I start talking about
I'm not going to fight you because I got to ask you this one question, and I think everybody's been waiting for this. And I think you've been asked this question. I listened to the interview, and I think one of the persons asked you this question. Tell me about your financial interests, your interests in the Port Authority. Are you an advocate out of the goodness of your heart as a citizen of Grand Bahama, or have you been identified and hired by the Port Authority?
I've not been identified by the Port Authority. I do not wish to be identified with the Port Authority. I told y'all if y'all send the Port Authority tomorrow with some good folks and they're ready to take us to the next level, yeah. I'll be on the parade with a flag saying, hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. Let's get it going. I am not the spokesperson for the Port. I live here. I know what I'm accustomed to. I'm here because I love my country and I love Grand Bahama. And I still believe in the people of Grand Bahama. I still believe in the economy of Grand Bahama. So that's why I am here. I'm making what I'm saying ain't got nothing to do with the Port, you know. It's the people. In case y'all didn't get the memo. Plenty PLPs agree with me. S&Ms, independents, and swing voters who live here in Freeport. Nobody in their right mind who have been living in the Freeport area wish for this government or any government to take over the responsibilities of the Port Authority that now exists. Nobody. Now, the people who complaining, what you talking? They don't live here? And the ones who live here complaining, most of them from the outskirts. So they always had a problem. Because they said, them people there in the Freeport area think they better than us. That ain't our fault. You got to talk to your government about that. If you want to have the amenities in the West and the East, the government is responsible for that. Don't get mad because the Port Authority has done it. And you must remember now, too, that the government receives from the people at Freeport in taxes $200 million plus in taxes. And when I talk about that, and they talk about that's what the people of Freeport get. Well, Freeport exists because of the Port Authority. How do you think we get looking the way we looking? Can you not see? Blind man, his soul rests in peace to see the difference between the West and the East. The government builds the West and the East, and the Port Authority builds Freeport. And the people of Freeport are paying taxes to the government as a result of the Grand Bahama Port Authority, what they have built. And how do we pay those taxes? Airport taxes, hotel taxes, vehicle license taxes, import duty, stamp tax on conveyance, stamp tax on banking and other transactions, stamps on corporation, cruise passengers, work permit, communication fee, lands and survey, registration general, the gaming tax, value-added tax, and indirect contributions from employees of NIB. So all of this is a result of the people who at Freeport given this to the Grand Bahama as a result of what the Grand Bahama Port Authority has developed and made possible for the people of Freeport to pay taxes to the government. And now you're trying to tell me the government wants $367 million that they're trying to, I don't know what they're trying to do to get this out of them, but they're trying to get this money from the Port Authority. So let me ask another question. The government of the Bahamas have a problem giving $357 million to the people of Freeport? So nobody here don't vote for the government? Nobody over here is CLPA?
But that's what I want to talk to you about. I got to take
we don't contribute to the National Consolidated Fund.
I got to...
We're not a part of the Bahamas.
Well, I want to talk about this, Mark. Hold on one second, Mark. I want to talk about this. I want to get to this because the question that I have, and I got to take this commercial break to get to news, but the question that I have is, are we superseding the Constitution? Are we superseding and going beyond the foundational document that is set up in terms of one entity doing their thing and the others doing... So there should be, and I use your word, this kind of an amicable approach to what the document, which is the Hawksbill Creek Agreement, has indicated. Are we superseding that and being able to say that everyone should deal with the issues at hand and forget about this? Or are we saying, hey, listen, based upon this particular document, we're in our right to do this? Mark, hold on to that. Write the answer down. Write all the information there. Let me get to a quick commercial break. I got to get to break. Got to get to news. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here. The line's going to be open when we get back. This is The Foundation. Quick commercial break. We're sitting here with none other than Frederick McAlpine talking about Grand Bahama. We'll take this break and be right back after this.
The Foundation. The Foundation. Foundation. The Foundation.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Start your day off with a mouth-watering deal available only at Wendy's. Introducing our new weekday breakfast deal that gives you a choice between 3 delicious items for just $3. You heard right. Monday through Thursday mornings, you get a choice between our Bakery Bliss Croissant, Breakfast Baconator, or a 3-piece pancake meal. Each only $3. Stop by your nearest Wendy's today. Better mornings always start at Wendy's.
Bonneville Bonable Bones, established in 1970, is the leader in men's fashion in the Bahamas. We're conveniently located in the Mall at Marathon and the Harbor Bay Shopping Plaza, and fully stocked with everything you need for all occasions. Our Harbor Bay location is one door north of Alive, with the black and white signage of Bonneville Boutique. Both locations are open from 10 to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Bonneville Bones and Bonneville Boutique, still the leader in men's fashion, located in the Mall at Marathon and the Harbor Bay Shopping Plaza.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Foundation. Foundation. The foundation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are back at 96.9 FM radio. Howard Grant in your company, The Foundation. It is a beautiful Monday afternoon, and we're having what I believe to be an essential conversation. I think this kind of a dismissive approach and kind of pushing people to one corner or the other and identifying them, label them based upon their agitation in one organization or conglomerate in comparison to another. Not yet have we found out neutrality and say, my God, these are good and decent Bahamian people advocating for what is right to the Bahamian. No, man, here's a F&M if you advocate against the government of the day, which is PLP. Here's a PLP if you advocate and say that the government is on the right course, so forth and so on. We have not found neutrality in this space and place, not just yet. One of the persons we've always identified, though he has remained tethered to one political organization or another in the past, he has emerged, adorned in his royal colors, purple, and being able to speak with clarity and strength to the position that exists in Grand Bahama right now between the Grand Bahama Port Authority and the government of the Bahamas. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to be able to introduce you to, if you're just tuning into the show, none other than Frederick A. McAlpine. Mac, what's happening with you, my brother?
Well, I'm right here. I thank God for you, and it's a pleasure to be with you once again. And it's just good. It's just good. We're right here thanking God for life and considering the circumstances all around us as we watch what's happening in the country.
I want to ask you this. There's two questions. When we left off, I wanted to know whether or not have we, as a society, as people of Grand Bahama who have traveled for the last 2 decades with trial and tribulation, one of the things that you've continued to say is that we have a specific standard. There's always been this kind of a social clarity that existed between everyone else in Grand Bahama. Grand Bahamians' proximity, the money that came in, gave us access and certain privileges to go off to the United States of America, so forth and so on. It gave a little disdain, and the sort of the decorum wasn't as strong as it should have been over the years. Now, as a result of 2004, with the hurricanes and one thing after another that led Grand Bahama to economic downturn, a lot of persons are saying, well, my God don't sleep. Now talk to me, Mac. I want to ask you this. Has our emotion and our desire to get back to, quote unquote, the magic of Grand Bahama, has it led us to this emotional position that we are seeking to jump over the foundational layout and the base of the Hawksbill Creek Agreement and get to our emotions and say, my God, whoever is the best, let him get it done. Don't take nothing from the Grand Bahama Port Authority. Let them fix Grand Bahama the best that they can. Why are you doing this, government of the Bahamas? Are we moving past the Constitution to get to our emotion, or do you think that this is a proper course that we're charting?
Listen, I think that the government has been duplicitous, because you asked that question. Are we ignoring the Hawksbill Creek Agreement, etc.? Right. The truth of the matter is, the government has took out this particular phrase of the Hawksbill Creek Agreement and decided to run with it and say they want money and we want it. But there's some other things in the Hawksbill Creek Agreement that I don't agree with that exist that the government is still not following. I don't agree with it that gives the Grand Bahama Port Authority more autonomy than they're actually exercising. So you can't just pick out one part and say, okay, you owe me, and ignore this other part, what says it gives the Port Authority more power to do this. So again, I think the government is being duplicitous with regards to that. That because it is what it is, Howard. It is what it is. So, to me, and this is just my view, the Grand Bahama Port Authority is really local government. It's still the central government, which is the government. They don't supersede the government of the Bahamas. But they are the personification of local government in the Freeport area. So mind what the other people talk about, they got local government. The local government is the Grand Bahama Port Authority.
That's how you see it.
Yes. Now, I'm sure there are others who have a different view, but they're collecting the garbage, the roads, the water, the parks, the bus stops, everything. And when local government tell you, local government don't get enough to do from central government. So what puts the commission there right back there at the same door of the Grand Bahama Port Authority, they get an option for X, Y, Z.
Yeah. Well, I can see what you're saying. I can see why you're saying that, because a quasi-government really has the support of a government, but they manage their own affairs. The truth of the matter.
Yes.
And if we started to talk about what's happening in Grand Bahama, if you go into Invest Grand Bahama right now, investgrandbahama.com, the Port Authority has some stuff laid out, right? The Port Authority has this beautiful information indicating they have over 3,500 business license persons. They have 10 billion plus in capital investments. They have 62 plus years of trade and investment. They got all these things laid out. They start to talk to you about the free trade zone, the concepts, the ideas that's good in here. Now, I just want to be able to do this.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that
Watch this, Howard.
Go ahead.
Watch this. And I would tell the Port Authority and the government, stop talking. Stop talking about this investment is $10 billion. You know how bad that sounds? You talking about y'all got $10 billion and the people in Freeport can't feel it? I can't see it in the churches. I can't see it in the private schools. Because if you got all this investment, then much more should be happening. I should see it in the offering time on Sundays, in tithes and offerings. I should see it in the private schools. The private schools should have more children going to private schools. The taxi drivers would be saying, man, business good. Ain't nobody want to hear about this. Now see, this is where we fall out, the port and the government. We talk about this $10 billion. What's the use telling me about $10 billion and only a couple people could feel that? We ain't feeling that. That's like Terry Christie in the 2012 election. We got $100 billion worth of stuff in the pipeline. We got this guy. What's the result of that? The accident getting the ball right after that, eh? People don't want to hear you talking about what you got unless they can feel it in their pocket. So talking about the cruise port, we can talk about that when it's finished and the people reach and people employed. But talking about it right now, ain't nothing happening. Talking about what the shipyard can get and how they can get a new platform, they have bigger ships coming in, and that all sounds good. But the same amount of people working there, what was working there last year, working there more. Matter of fact, it might be less. So talking about what's coming and what is two different things. So I always used to tell the government and the port, stop talking fool. We ain't want to hear nothing about no $10 billion and people hurting can't pay the light bill, can't pay the water bill. And y'all talk, God, that sound?
That's heavy what you're saying.
It might be coming, but it ain't reached yet.
That's heavy what you're saying. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in the conversation. 323-6232. 325-4316, 325-4259, or hit me up 422-4796. Hit me up 422-4796. Mac, I want to touch this now. I got to be as decent as possible while I got you here. Now, over the course of the past week, maybe a little bit more, there has been those that support this position of the government. I can't say it's the government. I can't say it's the PLP. There have been those persons socially who supported this position of the government and sought to identify and classify people that agitate against the government for the Port Authority. So they've pitted the Grand Bahama Port Authority, for the most part, and the Free National Movement as one entity. indicate, and I know you see the stuff. I know you indicated the stuff. I know that you've seen that they've seen that there's a significant affiliation. I know that you've seen Michael Pintard in his capacity as the Free National Movement's leader being able to indicate that the government has taken on the wrong course with these things. And they've said that, as a result of this, the Port Authority is taking care of this, taking care of that. Do you think that this is a course that should be traveled? Do you think that this is petty politics? Talk to me about it.
I think it is petty, but one of the things that hurts me, every time someone disagrees with the PLP and white people involved, it's always a racial issue. Why gotta be Kunta Kinte on the plantation because I don't agree with my black brothers and say, I don't think y'all going the right way. Why y'all trying to make this a racial issue? It ain't got nothing to do with black and white. But they always try to make it a black and white issue. Now, those who support the government, that's their right to support the government thinking what they're thinking that, listen, the port owner pay that. That's their right. But most of those people don't live here. Most of those people don't understand the politics here. And I said it and I'll say it again to the PLP. That's bad politics for people who try to win the people in Freeport. Because your own PLP colleagues and supporters will tell you they don't like it.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk to you about this now. As we go further, we stretched far and wide of what our expectations are from both the government and the Port Authority. I'd like to know what your position is. How do you believe, given the fact that you've been there, given the fact that you have been amidst politics in the country, you are a parliamentarian, former, and you continue to be able to agitate for the people of Grand Bahama and the Bahamas at large. Tell me, what do you see happening for there to be productivity with this kind of issue between Grand Bahama Port Authority and the government?
We need to stop the petty politics. As you asked me in that last question, there is too much petty politics. We need to take the politics out of this and look at the welfare of the people. We need to recognize that there needs to be a amicable relationship between the Port Authority and the government. It should be a marriage. But right now, it seems to be a major separation, and we're the children. The people who dwell here in Freeport, we're the children, and we're caught in a crossfire. This should be about commitment to the people of Freeport. It should be about communication. And it should be, and when we talk about communication, it can't be a one-sided conversation where the big dogs of the government decide they can talk and everybody else must just simply listen. Communications mean that you share your view, I have my view, and then as a result of this, we should come finally to what I call a compromise. If they would do this, we'd be in a better position. But to just say, we don't want to talk, y'all owe us $357 million, y'all don't give us the money, we're going to arbitration. But listen, when y'all go to arbitration, I don't want no hocus pocus. Y'all make sure that's a judge that all parties can agree on. I don't want you going to arbitration and then you put a PLP judge that is sit in the seat to rule in your favor. These things do happen. This is the Bahamas. It's a small country. This is called politics. We want fair and balanced judgment. And if that's how y'all think y'all can do this, then y'all better give us 3 judges, like a commission of inquiry. Give us 1 PLP, 1 FM, and 1 independent judge. I'm just saying, it is what it is, Brother Howard. It is what it is.
Well, tell me about this.
You get to arbitration. These are the realities. And see what happens is, government don't realize we're not as dumb as they think we are. It's a smarter generation. What you'll get away with not even grandma, great-great-grandma and grandpa, you ain't get away with us. We can tell you like it is. So if you're going to arbitration, who could be the judge?
It's heavy. But you know the judges...
We don't want no governmental crony sitting on the bench making judgment for us, for their friends, to get the verdict in their favor.
It's heavy what you're saying. Because judges sit in the space of neutrality. They have no social label.
Yeah, but judges are also appointed by government.
They are. So you believe that their allegiance is based upon their appointment?
So, my prosecutor, I rest my case.
You doing
government judges are appointed by government.
I want to say this now. I listened to you and I wrote it down. You said, stop the petty politics, focus on welfare, amicable relationships. There should be a significant commitment to the people. There should be significant communication, and then finding themselves at compromise.
Yes.
What do you think is stopping them? It cannot only be the politics. It cannot, listen to me.
No, it's not the politics. We said it earlier. It's not the politics. Greed.
So there must be an entity, an organization, forcing, this is what you're saying. Or a person. Significantly encouraging the government of the Bahamas to take on this particular position, to say that we want interest in this particular space.
Do you know how much land is available under the Port Authority?
But it only could be land, crown land, that was actually given to Wallace Grove to develop Grand Bahama in 1955.
It's all this land in Freeport, crown land in the west and east.
But we got to get to a deeper conversation. We got to get a deeper conversation, because the truth of the matter is that even insurance companies are pulling back from that with the low-lying areas, and the relentless hurricanes are flooding.
That is true.
So why are they fighting for something?
One of the most uppity areas, you can hardly get insurance in that area now.
That's what I'm saying. So why would you fight for something what don't essentially have any value beyond your ability to be able to develop on it? What
when
could the fight be?
You're greedy.
My God.
When you're greedy, you're greedy. And I hate to use this word, but it's the only word I can use that comes to mind. When you're greedy and niggly, you can't help it. It just is. I mean, I'm sorry you have to say these things, but it is not. We tried, the average person in this country tried.
But I don't understand why now. And I want to say this to you. I want to shoot straight with you.
Because certain people are in power now, and certain people are affiliated with certain people in power now. So this is their opportunity now. That's as plain as it is.
But let me say, from observation standpoint, and I hear your allegations about this, but from looking at it, Rupert Haywood in his particular capacity is under 45 years old. Rupert Haywood could have done anything. I had a great conversation with him when I did a rejuvenation tour last year when I was in Grand Bahama. He and I sat down for a great interview, and I really want to be able to follow that up and continue to talk with him. We talked about his Blue Lab initiative in terms of being able to identify the reemergence and the regrowing of the coral reef, and how he's been able to be recognized globally for that. We talked about his contribution from these particular standpoint. And we really talked about the fact that he didn't have to be here. Talk to me. I just want to be straight clear with you. He had opportunities someplace else. He didn't have to come back home. And now he's come back home. You've seen significant contributions, both internally in the Grand Bahama Port Authority, and his desire to be able to reach out into the community and identify talent to bring back to Grand Bahama. I know this because he and I spoke significantly, right? I know this. Just last week, me and him touched, when he was here a couple of weeks ago, we had good conversations about what's happening and why the Grand Bahama Port Authority is in here. Now, I'm going to say this. After all of this, and Rupert seeking to kind of move the Grand Bahama Port Authority in the direction of growth and development, why the government has taken this kind of a course to be a proverbial ram and slam this kind of a concept. The course that the GBPA is taking is a global course, is a course of progression and growth. It's what's happening in other spaces of the world. Why now is the government taking this course? It can't only be greed. It got to be, like you said, something is pushing you from behind, advocating for shares in this kind of a space. Talk to me about it.
If you were to right now find out in the Sixth Senses deal that's supposed to go forward, that's being hindered, government. Right now, the whole up is government. Many things that should be taking place in Grand Bahama now is being held up by the government, not the Port Authority. The Port Authority gives an approval, but the people have to now go back to Nassau to get an approval from the people in Nassau. Come on, man. You've made things more complicated. Under Phil Linden, it wasn't this complicated, It wasn't this difficult. They had relationship. Wow. They had partnership. We don't have that here. And so, I mean, I understand the work that Rupert is doing, particularly having been one of the main persons to bring the Sixth Senses here. But again, why the stumbling block? Only the government can answer. Why the stumbling block? We can only assume, and that's not good to do. But when you don't tell us, you leave us in a position to assess and to assume. See, that's another thing with government. Not just this government. Success enough. Too secretive, man. Secretive. Why y'all so secretive? With our taxpayers' money. You paid people off the other day. I'm insulted. You paid people off the other day. Millions of dollars. And you tell us you can't tell us what you gave them. But it's our money. But they all holding, some of them are holding significant positions. And some of them are connected, very well connected to the government and the political party. But you cannot tell us what you paying them. But this is the government of Bahamas. This is our thing. They act like it's theirs. This is our thing. And then the bus driver who was advocating for a raise for 16 years, you give them 25 cents raise and tell them they must be grateful. By damnation, Lord have mercy. These people, y'all gotta stop you though. You put the bus for 16 years. They've been asking for a raise. You give them 25 cents and tell them they mustn't be ungrateful, but they must be grateful.
Now,
meanwhile, gas going up, parts for vehicle going up, to plug a tire going up, to buy a tire going up, and then you could only $1. Then $1 for 16, and you tell them, yeah, you could increase it by 25. The taxi driver, y'all want to do this, and y'all might as well make the public service really public.
Well, the PLP they had focused on some stuff. I got the blueprint for change spread right out in front of me. I'm looking at these things.
Blueprint for change.
I got the thing laid out.
Lay out in front of you. Right now, that's laughable. And no disrespect, because I know you're doing what you're supposed to do. But they don't put no blueprint for change. But no matter that. No, nothing.
Mark, let me read the thing and let me tell you. So rescuing the economy is one of the first things that they want to be able to do. Then they said they need to be compassionate social relief and strengthening security. Then they need reconstruction and resilience, right? Then they started to talk about empowering Bahamians. All of these things lead to a good avenue, a great direction. It shows sort of the concept and idea of a true north for the country. But we're not seeing this. Mac, let me take this telephone call. I got a telephone call, guys. The lines are wide open if you want to be able to be a part of this. Telephone call on the line right now. Calling on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Hello?
Hi, hello. How you doing?
Man, look here. I passed Fleming Street Clinic just now. And this day and time, you all really think people should be sitting on the outside waiting for the doctor?
My God.
On Monday, that's what they do it?
Yeah, man, you could pass there right now.
Well, we can talk about that. We can talk about that today. We're talking about what's happening in Grand Bahama. And this is what will happen. I think the government of the Bahamas is being bombarded by its citizens saying that you're not making the right course. You're not making the right choices. Whilst you're in Grand Bahama, Michael Pine, there are people calling me right now, may not necessarily be listening into the show, but they got to say something that things are going contrary to what our expectations were socially.
Nationally, you hear the pretty words you just read? Let me give you another reality. If the government of the Bahamas won $357 million from the Grand Bahama Port Authority, they claim they love us and they're trying to empower benefit. Well, if you want the government, the Port Authority to pay this money, they can charge us. The people in Freeport. You putting heavy taxes on us. So you're putting us so where the Port supposed to get this money from? That means service charges gonna have to go up. Water gonna have to go up. Garbage still got hot. And you want to convince me that you love me and what you're doing is helping me. Helping us? How is helping us? And when I say me, I'm talking about Freeport, Grand Bahama, the people who reside here. And throughout this country, though, because that man is correct. You talking about Flemish, my brother, they're doing the same thing in most of the clinics.
Now
most of the clinics.
Let's because you
people
just
are on the outside trying to get it, and in some cases waiting for a doctor on some of these islands.
That's heavy what you're saying right here, Mark. Because the PLP got 10 points, and they said no one is going to deter us from our course. We are on course, we are focused, and we're moving forward. They got 10 points here. Our 10-point plan to recover, rebuild, and revolutionize this country. They started to talk about an all-encompassing aspect, and every time you put a microphone in their face, they're remaining committed to this concept and idea to move the people forward. Is the PLP on the right course for victory in 2026 to be able to reform our communities? How you grade them? Are they on the right course right now?
Boy, I just say something that will shock the whole country.
Let me hear it.
Is the PLP on the right course? I don't know if any of these parties are on the right course. I do not know. There's the silence of the Lamb. I even hear it, not just with you, Howard. The whole country just went silent when I said that. I could feel it through the airwaves. I don't know if any on the right course. Because in the average mind of most Bahamians today, Peter is no better than Paul. And whatever, you want me to break that down some more?
Let me hear it.
Whatever mess we in, the average man thinks that after them put us there. Whatever mess the PLP trying to clean up, most people think they're making it worse than what it was. It's a dicey go back and forth. People say, same thing. How do people say? Half dozen, same thing. Same thing.
6.5 dozen is the same thing.
Right, whatever.
My God.
Same thing.
Guys, the lines are wide open. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Anywhere from the family of islands, you can be able to hit me up with that. Or hit me up 422-4796, 422-4796 is 1:30. Got to let me take this quick commercial break. Ladies and gentlemen, when we get back, we can hit some real questions. We got to talk about these things because your social advocation and your commitment got to say, I coming back. This time for Mac. We can take this quick commercial break and be right back after this.
The foundation.
It's Whopper Wednesday every Wednesday at Burger King Nassau. Make your Wednesday sizzle and sink your teeth into a flame-grilled beef patty topped with tomatoes, fresh-cut lettuce, mayo, pickles, ketchup, and sliced onions, all on a toasted sesame seed bun with fries for only $5.95, including VAT. This Whopper Wednesday, grab a friend and head down to your favorite BK Nassau location for a flame-grilled Whopper made your way with crisp fries for only $5.95. Burger King Nassau, where taste is king.
Calling all Alive postpaid customers. Paying your postpaid bill in full this month could mean winning tickets to see Janet Jackson live at the Atlantis. That's right. Make your payment through the My Alive app, BeAlive.com, or any Alive location by April 23rd and be automatically entered. Winner will be announced on April 24th, so don't wait. Start paying for your chance to win. Alive, the perfect connection for everyone.
You hear what Boss Man was saying in the back there just now?
About what? The luncheon?
Why you always worried about food? No, about how we gotta pay a little more for national insurance.
Mildred, you talking fool. I can't afford to pay that.
And you always crying, palm out. Ain't gonna be much. Boss still gotta pay. 1st of July, 2024.
I think that criminal benefit is what did help my boy Tony through the pandemic. That same unemployment benefit. And guess what?
What?
Susan, I think she'd get a pregnancy benefit, eh?
You mean maternity benefit, eh? So now, we gotta do our part to make sure we get our pension. All right.
For more information, visit NIPRateIncrease.com. This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, Call today.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. With these few minutes, I just wanted to kind of dive right into the conversation. I got some texts here. I want to be able to read a few of these texts and talk about it. I'm here with none other than Frederick A. McAlpine. He's joining me all the way from Grand Bahama, having great conversations. Mac, I want to thank you so very kindly for doing this. Let me read one of these texts before we go, before we dive deeper into the conversation. It says that the Hawksbill Creek, absolutely, my brother. It says that the Hawksbill Creek Agreement was meant to devolve into municipal government since 1990. That is the option that should have taken and is the solution. Have the principals go promote development of the assets to match the consensus of or pay the taxes. There's a text that's coming through, right? Also, this says, Howard, how does the personal expenses, light bill, the government's responsibility, how are these things the government's responsibility? These are texts coming through. Also, I want to be able to do this. It says, Rupert has no money. This is a text that's coming through. It says, report on the funds owed was paid for by tax dollars and should be put into the public domain. This is a text that's actually coming through. It says, I truly miss hearing McAlpine on the radio. He is the realest there ever was. This is a text that's coming through for you, Mac. So it says, where is Rupert on the Grand Bahama Port Authority Economic Development Plan for Grand Bahama? I can only assume that McAlpine has a copy of that. Clearly, though, McAlpine says that he isn't speaking for the Grand Bahama Port Authority. He's arguing more for the Grand Bahama Port Authority than the Grand Bahama Port Authority is doing. I note that he never says Grand Bahama Port Authority. He says Rupert. He says he wants to represent the people, but has yet to make a statement in their interest. I can let you answer on that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know what they mean by that, but I've been speaking for the people. The fact that, what do you want? Yes, I've been advocating more for the Port Authority because I want the Port Authority to keep picking up our garbage, keep giving us the water, and keep dealing with our roads and our bridges. So, yes, I don't want the government doing that. What, am I speaking in tongue? Is this an unknown language? I'm advocating for the Port to continue doing that. I do not want the government doing it. They can't do it in Centerville. At least I'm going to say they're not doing a good job of it in Centerville. They're not doing a good job of it in Ingleton, on being in Grand Town, or on Soldier Road and some of them corners throughout Nassau. They're not doing it in Cat Island. They're not doing it in McGowan and Hopkins and Crooked Island. So why? What do you want me to say? You want me to give up God for work? That's what you want. You want me to give up God for work.
Has that been
I don't know who the person, the texter is who's saying that, but all I'm advocating for the port is for them to remain in place until we can do better with another group of personal shareholders. But I do not wish the government to take the responsibility of that which the port is now doing. And neither that, I can tell you this. 85, I might as well tell you, I really feel it's 90% of the people. And let me just state, we hold no grief for this Port Authority. Ain't nobody in Freeport in love with this Port Authority, like we had loved Edward St. George and Jack Haywood Port Authority administration. But we sure as hell would prefer to hold on to this until that gets here.
Is that because
whatever that could be?
Is it because this is the devil that you know? Talk to me.
Well, the devil that we know, it could be, yes. Because, listen, man, the roads are good. The water is good. The garbage gets picked up on time. The people cleaning the verges and why won't put that in the hands of the government?
Well, they definitely don't do it in Nassau, and they don't do it in Lake Mario.
They can't even take care of the Supreme Court building.
Wow.
That is here. That's falling in pieces.
Wow. Let me take
the National Insurance building, it's falling in pieces.
Yeah.
Government offices right around here that's being rented is dropping down in holes. And you want me to give that up? You want me to give the responsibility to a government that has not proven itself? And this is the person of the PLP. I don't care if the name has to them PLP or any other P. We do not wish to put that responsibility in the hands of the government. They have proven to fail all this time. The energy, let me calm down. The energy they take to fight the Port Authority, go open up the damn school in Holmesville.
I thought they would have done that in the by-election.
Go open up the school at Holmesville.
I thought that would have been kicked off. Now, I can be honest with you. That should have been done under the former administration, under the Free National Movement.
I don't, listen, I admit that. You ain't hear me say? Cheetah ain't no better than God.
But you keep holding. See, Mark, you got to come back here because you hold on to the FLM till the last knock. Yeah, hold on. You hold on to this administration, what you're indicating now that's non-performing till the very last knock.
But I told them about their performance. Had they listened to me, they might still be in office today. But they didn't help me. You know what's killing this country today? Class. It is no longer racial. It's class. I didn't attend their Ivy League schools. I don't live in their neck of the woods. So they figure people like me who connected to people can't tell them nothing. But if they've been listening, they might have still been in office today.
Let me take some of these calls, Mark. Don't go nowhere. Call on the line with us live. Go ahead. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, good afternoon, Brother Howard.
What's happening, my brother?
Brother Mark.
Yes, sir.
Better than Paul. You should know you've been with them all. You even been in.
Yes.
You run of the parties and all now. But everybody could hear quite clearly that either you're singing for your light bill to be paid by the Port Authority, your water bill or something. You just ain't getting no more.
Listen, my brother, stop talking sugar, honey, and iced tea on this blessed Monday. Listen to me. My light bill, I pay my own light bill and my own water bill. And I provide food for my family. And I don't have a government contract to do it. Okay? So please, if you're going to come on this radio, make sense. You're not going to come here and try to insult me and insult the intelligence of the Bahamian people. We're listening, you know. I ain't singing for no supper. I am the Lord's child, like many Bahamians. And we believe in that. He's never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. So don't step to me like that. You don't know me. You may know of me, but you do not know me. Have a blessed day, sir.
He gone. Well, Mark, I got some more telephone calls, so let me take some.
They better come correct. Because I'm scared. I was scared of the FNF.
He just hit you.
I certainly ain't scared of the PLD.
Listen.
You guys scared of somebody who could be their mouthpiece?
Never. Talk to me, Mark. Now listen, he done hit you with some acronyms.
By the way, yes, I have been in all parties, sir. And I'm no better than the Bahamian people who voted for all parties. So stop talking fool. People in this country don't vote PLC, FNM, DNA, and independent. So I ain't no better than your son, your daughter, your mom, or your pa.
Let me take the next.
That's just what I just said.
Let me take the next telephone call. Call on the line with us live. Go ahead. Go ahead, caller.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey, good afternoon. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, Anton? All is well.
Hey, Rev, how you doing?
I'm okay, Anton. I'm okay, sir. How you doing?
Why, I right here hold it on.
Hold on, bro. Don't let go. Hold on.
Yeah. I never call with those kinds of comments. In my character. So you
I know.
understand with that where I'm involved. But I call on quite the opposite wicket, as a matter of fact. I'm happy to hear it makes for a much smoother conversation with today, which you didn't bring clear in the last appearance that you had on Naughty Show. So I'm happy to hear that you're expressing that while and it is your right naturally as a citizen of the country to express that you have neither the confidence in the FNM nor the PLP to do the work that you feel is necessary to keep you comfortable in your community. That is your full entitlement and democracy. What I wanted to know from you is, are you able to speak specifically to any foreign direct investments that would have made an attempt to come to the country in recent times? And as you were saying, the government has made it difficult for them to conduct business on Grand Bahama. And at which time point are we talking about? I'm trying to appreciate if we're talking about a PLP or an FNM, this PLP or a previous FNM administration that has been making it difficult for the port to conduct business. And then finally, I'd like to, I'll hang up after this one. I'd like to know from you, Brother Mark, as someone who has experience with all political factions in the country, what direction are you leaning in moving forward as it relates to the direction the country needs to go in, and as it relates to the political organization that you feel is best suited to get that done? Thank you for the opportunity. Thanks.
Okay. All right, no problem, Anton. Go ahead.
Thank you, Anton. And thank you, Anton. You brought soberness back to the callers. I appreciate that so much. With regards to business being conducted by foreign investors, I've never heard any complaint, and Anton, about the Port Authority blocking investors. When I heard about it from two occasions. The Prime Minister, I think he went to someplace, it could have been Dubai, and they said the people wanted to do business and they didn't want to do business in Freeport. They were having difficulty. I heard that from the Prime Minister. And the next time I heard it was from Fred Mitchell, who was saying that they've been blocking people, investors, from doing business. I've never heard any investors, so I cannot speak to that themselves. But when I have heard about it, I've only heard this complaint from the Prime Minister and Fred Mitchell, or I guess let me take them out of it and say I've only heard this complaint from the Progressive Liberal Party government. In regards to my political leaning, I'm in the middle of the road. I love the people of this country. I'm in the middle of the road. And I think it's too early for me to make a judgment whether to go left or right. And quite frankly, Anton, most of the people in this country right now in the middle of the road. So people they're not happy with the left nor the right. And right now people are at a standstill. And only time will determine where we go from here. But one thing I can tell you for sure is that I love the people of the Bahamas. I'm one of those persons who don't just talk about the Bahamas. I actually travel all the Bahamas. I travel all these islands more than once. So I know the Bahamas. So when some people talk about the Bahamas, and then there's some people like myself who actually know the Bahamas.
Now I will say this.
Politically, I'm in the middle of the road, like most of the country.
The middle of the road has never, for the most part, Tennyson Wells, Larry Cartwright, and a few others we can identify that found victory in the middle of the road. One of the champions of that victory, who I could say is the father, right, by inheritance, the stepfather of our independence that we enjoy, would be, oh Lord. Sir Randall Fox, right, folks? That's the only person who would have been able to enjoy this sort of a middle of the road concept for the people of the country.
But I'm in the middle of the road now. In other words, I've not made a political decision. But what I am saying is, when the time comes, I will have to make that decision. To be honest with you, I can tell you this, Howard and country. In the last election, there was 194,000 voters, 500 plus. Out of that, 126,000 voted, 126,400 plus. Persons who did not vote was 68,000. Persons who did not vote for the PLP nor the SNM was 16,000. So persons who didn't vote for the PLP nor the SNM collectively is 84,000 persons. So 60-something thousand didn't go to the poll, and 16,000 didn't vote for 9 of them. Whoever can get that 84,000 can win the next election.
Let's talk about your numbers. What was your numbers in the last general election? You came...
My numbers in the last general election was 1175.
1175.
1175.
How much were you beaten by?
My numbers were 1175. Wilburn was 86. The FNM got 886. And Ginger got 1423. She beat me by approximately 240 votes.
You think those
and I beat this Octagavo by 500, and I can make up 900 that he beat the former Amsterdam candidate by.
Do you think those numbers are waiting on you to come back?
Oh, yes, I do. I think you do, too. You're a Freeport boy, you know. You know what's going on.
I know what's going on. Let me ask the questions and sit in the middle of the road just like you. You fighting me.
Okay.
You fighting me to push me on one side or the other. Let me take the next telephone call. Call on the line. Go ahead. Call on the line. Go ahead. Next caller. Call on the line with us live. Go ahead.
Yes. Hey. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, T. Allen?
Yeah, Howard.
Hey.
Yeah. Hey, Mark. How you doing, T. Allen?
I'm okay, T. Allen.
You know, Howard, I hear the argument concerning the monies owed as well as the reasons why. Just let me do some clarification on that. According to the agreement they're speaking to, there's supposed to be a certain amount of economic activity to generate the taxes to cover whatever expenses the government would have extended in Freeport. So the Port Authority is not going to, in my view, to say tax the Bahamian people to pay it. First they're making a claim that they don't owe it. I think the bigger picture, though, is that what has happened over the last 30 years on Grand Bahama, and I think the responsibility lies on both the government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority to tell us what's now, what's new, and what's next. Now, if you look at the argument that's been made, it's made for what? For lack of economic development. And so the question then is, what is the plan after today to actually bring economic development to Freeport? And I'm not talking about the announcement that's being made where 200 jobs over here, 300 jobs, 150 jobs over here. We're talking about an economic revolution that needs to happen on Grand Bahama. And in fact, I've said this over and over the years. There is no place in the Bahamas an economic revolution can occur except on the island of Grand Bahama. And so what we seem to have on a daily basis, more so with this Port Authority issue came up, is are you familiar with Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles, and Blind Blake?
Yeah, none of them could see.
Right. And so essentially what you're doing is you have Stevie Wonder arguing with Ray Charles, and you have Blind Blake supporting one of the two. And because no one has spoken to what is needed, where we are, and where we need to go. And I think that's a failure of the Grand Bahama Port Authority and a failure of government, because both of them must work cohesively to develop a strategy. The Grand Bahama Port Authority must develop it for Freeport, and the government for Grand Bahama. And somehow some cohesion has to happen. But again, we can't plot the future until we examine the past and where we are today. And so I think a wider conversation must happen on what exactly, where we are exactly in Freeport and Grand Bahama as a whole, and where we want to go, and then have a debate on who's best prepared. The ending, let me say this, Howard. I do believe that a form of municipal government, not the emasculated form of local government that was given to us, that needs to happen in Freeport, because I'm one to support the position that the Port Authority should not govern themselves in respect to licenses and other things. And I would agree with that text that came in, that they should focus on the economic development plans, considering they own the assets. But the municipal government aspect of it, which gives us the opportunity to even involve self-taxation for the things that we need, schools, police stations, fire stations, and all those different things, the way it's intended. But here's the problem with that. The municipal governance emasculates MPs. And so I do look forward to a wider conversation. I think this has squeezed the toothpaste out of the tube, and it's not going to be easy to get it back in. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Mark, stay with me for 2 seconds. Stay with me for 2 seconds. It's my last commercial break. We'll let you kind of wrap up and say your thing, and then we can take it from there, okay? Quick commercial break. We'll be right back after this.
The foundation.
Are you ready for the best of the best? Keep the Vibe Alive Music Group, Alpha Sound Promotion, and Guardian Radio presents the best of the best Rake and Script Explosion Concert. Mark your calendars for May 11th as Super Club Breezes grounds ignite with Bahamian talent featuring KB, Gino D, Funky D, Veronica Bishop, The Brylanders, Avi, Elon Moxie, and Shine 242. Join the Falcons, Iron Storm, Sylvie Pierre, Johnny Cake, Mama D, Nishi LS, Pat Rami, Stevie S, and Shad Colley and the VIPs for an electrifying night of music and culture. Tickets are flying, so grab yours now. Available online at BahamaZTickets.com or swing by the Beauty Shack on Soldier Road and Carmichael Road. This is the event of the year. The best of the best rake and scrape explosion at Breezes Resorts. Gates open at 6 p.m. Don't miss out on the Bahamian magic.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
This has been a truly decorated conversation, and I'm grateful to do that. Mac, you got to be able to come sit with me more. I got to ask you more and more questions about not only what's happening in Grand Bahama. I know that you're the eyes and the ears and definitely the pulse of the people in Grand Bahama, but really about what's happening as we move towards this. There's been allegations, speculations about an early election. There's been a great deal of things, and you are at the forefront of it. So I'm going to let you wrap up. Say what you have to say. Say your piece in terms of how people could follow you, how they could be able to participate in all these particular things. Because people say they like hearing you and they miss you from the limelight. Talk to me about it, Mac.
Well, thank you once again for having me today, and I thank the people of Commonwealth of the Bahamas for sitting and listening with me as you and I conversated today. I must admit, Alan is right. This $357 million is a distraction. But the Grand Bahama Port Authority really cannot talk to investments or investors until this $357 million is put to rest. This is a distraction from them doing what they're supposed to even be doing for us as a people here in Grand Bahama. So until that's resolved, it's going to be a distraction for a little while. In terms of me as an individual, I've been quiet. I don't want to be talking to everything and anything. But at the same time, I love the country and I love the people of this country, and I want to see better for this country. We're in a political quagmire because people are really disappointed. The appetite for politics isn't good right now. And people are really disappointed because, in all honesty, all governments, many governments, I don't want to say all, but many governments, this government and successive governments, have failed so many people in so many ways that people have become disillusioned when we talk about politics in this country. And so I hope that somehow that something can happen that can resurrect hope back into the hearts and minds of the Bahamian people, and that we can find a government that can honestly be fair to the people and would like to see the improvement of the people naturally because they love their country more than their party. Thank you so much, Howard, for having me. Please keep up the good work, and please continue to do what you're doing because we need voices that will represent the fourth estate in this country. We've lost so many to the government, and so we'd like you to continue to be there, at least creating the balance between the people and the government of the Bahamas. God bless you.
Thank you, my Mac. I want to thank you so very kindly for being able to join in the conversation today. It has been invigorating. It has been a breath of fresh air. You had me choking over here as you continue to be able to, your mixture with the sugar, the honey, and the iced tea. I want to say...
There's a lot of that going on in this country.
I want to thank you. I want to thank you, my brother. I want to thank you so very kindly for being able to join me.
I have to protect you. You know, we got Erica now.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you. It's a good piece of man. Ladies and gentlemen, that was none other than Frederick McApie calling me all the way from Grand Bahama with the heart of the city on his mind, and continue to be able to speak up and out on behalf of the people of Grand Bahama, not necessarily teetering on one side of the fence or the other, but dead straight in the middle, talking about what needs to happen. I want to thank you guys for being able to tune in with us today. I can read this last text. This is Howard. Tell McApie to continue to speak continue to speak the truth. We Bahamians just love these party colors. There are many on both sides of the divide agreeing with what he is saying. The government, both the FNM and the PLP, has failed Grand Bahama. Continue to agitate, my brother. Continue to be able to speak. And as we move forward, upward, onward together, we want to hear more of these like that. So I thank you so very kindly, guys. I thank you for tuning in. Tomorrow, we're going to have a great conversation right here on the Foundation, Guardian Radio 96.9 FM radio. Guys, have a beautiful day. I pray that you continue to be able to move with your strength in the Lord and make these things happen. Guys, have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow. Godspeed right here.
The Foundation. Foundation.
The Foundation of Heart Grant is brought to you by Alive, Bond for Bones, Burger King, Commonwealth Bank, ESC Distributors Limited, Grand Bahama News, the IAAF Road Relays Bahamas, the National Insurance Board, and Wendy's.
The Foundation.